Are you struggling to make money in the laser, UV printing, or clothing decoration business? Are you searching for ways to grow your client list and generate more sales? Look no further than the Creative Entrepreneur Podcast. Every week, host Desiree Colonna provides over 25 years of industry experience and interviews with successful decoration industry experts. Discover all the tips and tricks you need to get your business off the ground and make money with laser, UV printing, or clothing decoration. Everything you need to succeed.
So hello and welcome to 2023. We just came off one of our busiest holidays ever, and I'm hearing the same from people who are in the industry that everybody was pretty busy. Some were slow, but most of us were pretty busy this last year. And now it's time to regroup and look at 2023, probably look at buying some equipment, maybe buying some software. I just purchased a couple courses online that I'm taking, and I think that this is the time that everybody kind of looks at what happened in 2022 and realizes they either need a new machine to handle the business or they need to sell machines that aren't working quite as well as they thought. And, you know, there's a cautionary tale here. Basically, if you cheap out in business, you're not going to find the value in the tools that you're using. And you're going to shortchange your business. And you don't want to sell yourself short, because really what you're doing is you're selling your customers short. I know that when I had a hobby laser, I'm not going to tell you which one, I think you can guess, but I upgraded to an Epilog, and it was like night and day. I couldn't perform the tasks with that hobby laser that I can perform with the Epilog. And also I can now do tumblers. So I've had tumblers and wine bottles and glass to my repertoire. And it really served my customers much better. Now, I can even do better than what I have. I have a 12 by 24 bed with my laser, but I make smaller things. But if I had a larger bed, I could do a lot more with it. And that's probably something I might be looking at in the future. So I was working at a very large liquor store over the holiday, and a young man came in and was asking me about what I was doing on my iPad. He had just gotten one for the holiday and wanted to start creating art. I told him that I used Procreate, and I showed him a little bit about how it worked. And he went home and he looked up Procreate and went to download it and realized that it was going to be $9.95. So the next day I asked him, he came back and I asked him, hey, did you download Procreate? How did you like it? Do you know that he didn't want to spend the $9.95 for Procreate? He thought it was too expensive. Well, folks, that was the end of his artistic career, unless he wanted to take up painting, and do it all by hand. But you're still going to need programs to make that artwork digital to do what he wanted to do. So he's still going to have to spend the money down the line. But I just thought it was funny how he stopped himself for $9.95. Now, granted, he was a student, but for the price of a Starbucks, he could buy Procreate and create all this wonderful artwork. And then he could sell it online and make money. But no, he stopped himself short by not spending the $9.95. Another thing that I see a lot of laser and UV printer folks do is they buy equipment that is cheap and just stops working in the middle of a holiday season. I wonder how many of you saw the stories online of those people who were crying, basically crying because their equipment just stopped working. Now, I understand that you have a limited budget when you start out. I get that. But you have to know when to grow. You have to know when to grow. And if your clientele and your projects are growing, you have to grow along with that. Because if you don't, you're going to be using equipment that isn't going to keep up with you and isn't going to keep up with your projects. So this year, make sure that your equipment is up to date and it's keeping up with you and your business. Definitely buy a bigger machine than you think you need, a more powerful machine than you think you need. That's always a good rule of thumb. And be careful who you're purchasing from. Really do your research. Talk to people who have used the machines. And don't buy the least expensive machine, because I'm telling you, you're going to eventually spend more money anyway to get a better machine. So, same thing with buying anything for your business. You always want to purchase something that's going to go the distance, even though it may cost a little bit more. In the end, what's going to cost you is if you buy a less expensive machine that doesn't keep up with your business. So look at what you're doing this year as far as your machines, and you may want to upgrade and really go for it this year with more power and more capacity. I'm telling you, I've never talked to somebody who bought a machine and said, I really regret buying the bigger machine. They are always glad that they did, because their business catches up somehow to that bigger machine. So, if you need something for your business like Procreate or some kind of a, let's say the Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Suite. I'm playing around with Affinity Designer now with my iPad. Don't be afraid to spend that money. A lot of it's tax deductible, and it's worth buying the better product, the better quality. I can't tell you how much this has saved my business, but it hurts in the beginning to spend that money. But I promise you, at the end, you make it back probably 2 or 3-fold. So don't sell your business short. Really invest in it this year. Buy the bigger machine, buy the more powerful machine. Make sure you've got all the software and the programs and the computers to go with it, and even the accounting software. I've been using QuickBooks. There's plenty of different software out there to help you run your business. Don't be afraid to make that investment, because the ones that I've seen that have really made it online and with their business in this laser and UV printing world and printing world, they're the ones who bought the better heat press or the better machine, and they never regretted it. So try to get the best of the best if you can. And I'm telling you, it's going to make a big difference in your business.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Creative Entrepreneur. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, please share this episode with others who may be interested. Feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or on Desiree's social network channels. See you next week for the newest episode, where we share even more tricks and tips and everything you need to succeed in your decoration business.